Pops, what's up? It's Kumerai Fang here, and happy birthday to me! Yeah, your uncle was born in 1995, and September is my birthday month. So I figured, what better way to celebrate than to talk about the music from the year I was born in. I expected this to be a year where I was a bit out of my depth, and where that's definitely true for the worst list, I was a bit surprised because there were actually a few songs that I liked and recognized. When I make retro worst and best lists, songs that made the Hot 100 on the previous year end don't qualify for the list. And of the 93 songs that I had to choose from, I only came out with 17 candidates for this list. I had just enough to make this list. That's never happened to me before, especially put next to all the great music that came from this year.
I'm kinda buzzed and it's all because this is how we do it.
There was a lot going on musically in 1995. New Jack Swing was strong, rap was diversive in both sound and subject matter, and I can't forget how dominant R&B was this year. There were a few outliers here and there, mainly because Billboard for some reason changed up their rules and thus rock music was next to non-existent, but for the most part, there was great quality to be found in all of these trends. I have 36 candidates for my best list. This year was just that good. Unfortunately, that made putting together the worst list kinda difficult. While the best of 1995 are staples that stand the test of time, not to mention stand out in their own unique way, the worst of this year was mostly just bad. There were some egregiously bad songs, but most of them weren't ones I hated with a fiery fury, which made this a little bit of a chore to make, but hey, let's get it over with so we can get to the fun part. We're counting down!
But I've been forgotten, now, Joe. I've been married a long time ago.
The top 10 worst hit songs of 1995. Number 10.
She can get a taste.
So, something that's an instant turnoff for me is when a song has creepy and unnerving music when its subject matter is not supposed to be that. Music being unnerving isn't inherently a bad thing. If the subject matter of the song is tense, dark, and/or unnerving, then the music should match that tone. If the subject matter of your song is laid-back fun and/or sensual, though, the last thing you want is to have the music be uncomfortable. Unfortunately, not everyone gets the memo and tries that anyway. It's not uncommon in pop music, but these incidents on their own make me uncomfortable in a way I'm not sure words can describe. Unfortunately for me, though, that's the note I'm starting on, so I better hope they can. Do I need to explain why the music creeps me out here, or can y'all guess?
Player, give me some brew and I might just chill.
This song is interesting, and I say that because it doesn't seem to know what it's going for. Lunas is rapping about pot and sounds pretty tough, but I can hear certain moments where he's clearly trying to be more laid back, and Michael Marshall does not help with that. The band saying that he only has money for half a bag of weed, singing in a way that sounds like it's supposed to be more fun, but I don't think that's what they were going for. I think the intention was for him to sound like a desperate buyer and Lunas is supposed to be his dealer, but it doesn't come off that way, which is unfortunate because I actually think the two of them are doing okay on this song. Lunas has some good bars and I like Michael singing here, but again, that damn music. The beat is just synths, 808s, and a drum machine. It's tense and unnerving, as mentioned, but it's also empty. It doesn't change at any point in the song, which makes it harder to listen to. It has the makings to be better than it actually is, which is a little disappointing. But at least it's nowhere near as bad as the rest of these songs. Number 9! So there were many outlier genres in 1995, and unfortunately, one of them just so happens to be a genre I'm very weak in. Country. That being said, there was a name on this year-end that I recognized before I even knew who he was. His name is Tom Petty. I admit that I am no expert on this man. I know him for this song, and that's really it. A good number of you pups seem to like this guy, while a smaller number of you find him to be mediocre. And where I don't know enough about him to form an opinion one way or the other, I knew from the title of this song that I wasn't gonna like it.
You don't know how it feels. You don't know how it feels.
So right off the bat, I will say the same thing about this song as I said about the last song. it's not completely awful. The instrumentation is more traditional country, but with nothing to really make it stand out. I personally find it to be boring. Now, I have an issue with songs being boring, especially if they're pop hits, but that wasn't near enough to make the song a contender for this list. Tom Petty was, though.
People come, people go.
I've been told a few classic songs of his, and I can honestly say he's sounded better. The man sounds stoned and like he swallowed a frog. Although, to be fair to the frog, this song would have sucked with or without it. The lyrics are just awful.
You don't know how it feels to be me.
Tom Petty is hooking up with some random chick because he was dumped. He begins talking to her about observations he's made so far before going, "Alright, let's get this over with, because you don't know what it's like to be me." It's enough to get my eye twitching. Between that and the way he sings this song, I get this sense of contempt towards this girl, even though Tom Petty's using her like she's using him. Not as bad as Beautiful Mistakes, but that's a low bar to pass. There's not much else to add. Whenever Tom Petty sings the title of this song, I feel annoyed and drained. There's nothing like wanting to punch someone but having no energy to do it. So let's move on. The sooner I can hit the hay, the better.
Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did
Number 8!
you
Okay, let's talk about some rock music to recover from the last few entries. Let's see. Get some energy back in here. And the winner is Bon Jovi. So, Bon Jovi is a band that my father introduced me to. Shocking, I know. But what's actually kind of shocking for me is that I've only ever heard 4 songs by this band. You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer, Dead or Alive, and It's My Life. These were the 4 songs that were played in my house. My opinion on them is positive in spite of this. The songs are catchy, the guys all sing well, the guitar riffs are addicting to listen to. What more can a rock fan ask for? Well, I can ask for them not to suck. My first thought when I listened to this song was, why does this sound like every other R&B love ballad? Like, seriously. Maybe it comes from my limited exposure to Bon Jovi, but when I saw them on this Hot 100, I was hoping for something to pump me up. I have a very hard time staying awake when this song plays, and I mean that literally. And the fact that a rock act I know that I actually have a certain level of expectations for was capable of doing that created a certain level of disappointment. Especially when I learned that this song was released as a single off of their second greatest hits album. And yes, I'd be lying if I said it came down to more than that. I can see someone else viewing this song as a serviceable rock ballad, but when this song isn't making me fall asleep, I'm just annoyed with it. Boring was one of the last adjectives that I ever associated with Bon Jovi, and to a certain extent, that's still true. But this song and their album from this year made it trying to sit through their music. Pop music is something you want to go back and listen to on repeat, either because it's catchy and fun to listen to, or because you have an emotional attachment to it. And aside from an instant cure for insomnia, the only reaction this song gets out of me is to go listen to It's My Life on repeat. Moving on. Number 7! And now we enter the realm of this pisses me off for existing. Remember Grenade by Bruno Mars?
I'd catch a grenade for ya.
Yeah, that one. This is one of those songs. Major spoilers for whenever I get to 2011, but Grenade is one of the worst hit songs of that year, and it's gonna be damn high on my worst list. And yet, despite it being in a different genre, I'm the only one as bad in many of the same ways Grenade is. The over-singing, the lyrics of dedication that just sounds overdramatic and guilt-trippy, and instrumentation that should sound fine, but just makes me hit skip. Although, Bruno does have one advantage over Melissa Etheridge. I don't hate him the second he opens his mouth. I admit, this is pretty rich for me to say, especially since I like singers with gravelly voices. But I can't stand this woman singing. Listening to this and Melissa's other hit from this year, I can effectively say that I can't connect with her on any level. It never feels like she ever hits the right tone. And the toxic feeling from the content really doesn't help matters. Although, I can think of ways you could do it worse. Oh boy. Number 6. Female pop stars having more of a voice began back in the 90s. From Pink to TLC, even to Shania Twain. It's interesting to look back on, even if I find a decent amount of it to be a mixed bag. When these songs are good, they're great. When they're bad, they usually land in one of two extremes, either misandry or bitch fit. This song is a literal bitch fit. You know, it's not really a good sign when the first thing the song reminds me of is this.
I'd rather be the side bitch to a loyal... I'm not allowed to say that. I'm way too white. Before I'd be the main bitch to a cheater. What fucking kind of logic is that?
So, yeah, bad first impression. This song is a woman talking to another one who had a one-night stand with her man. And where songs like Beautiful Liar by Beyonce and Shakira portrayed the scenario at its best possible framing and outcome, He's Mine takes it to its absolute worst. Saying that your cheating boyfriend is still yours even though you know that he slept with somebody else is just an example of how to lash out at somebody who may not have known that they did you wrong. I can't sympathize with that. The music isn't anything to write home about either. Hell, I'd argue it's just as misguided as the narrator's emotions. It sounds like it's supposed to be for a song with an air of comfort and support, but the narrator is just being a bitch. I'm the only one maybe irritating to me, but at least Etheridge tried to frame it in the right tone. This song is just pathetic, and all it makes me want to do is find a dunce cap for the narrator. Next. Number 5! My opinion on them is positive in spite of this. The songs are catchy, the guys all sing well, the guitar riffs are addicting to listen to. What more can a rock fan ask for? Well, I can ask for them not to suck.
I cried and I cried, there were nights that I died for you, baby.
Damn it, why does this act feel the need to test my patience? This is a 5-minute post-breakup rock ballad, and I want it to end before the first chorus finishes. This song annoys me so damn much. The sad part is, it could have been one I liked.
Guess that I was blind.
The song has the makings to be pretty decent. Singing's good, the instrumentation rises to a decent climax. It's not great, but it had potential. Unfortunately, every note, every word that comes out of Jon Bon Jovi's mouth just makes my eye twitch. We are hearing an ex-boyfriend who feels played by his former girlfriend, and that's rarely ever worked for me. It's hard enough to take in small doses. Do you really think 5 minutes is gonna work? It kinda sucks that I get to say this about a rock song on this Hot 100, especially since there wasn't really a lot of it here. It's just an irritating little listen, and a tedious one at that.
This ain't a love song.
Number 4. All right. That was awesome. Oh, so a best list contender. Okay, that's done. Let's see. What's next here? Freaking You by Jodeci. Jodeci? Whatever. With a title like that, this is either going to be really good or really bad. Oh well, let's give it a listen. Not again! Oh, great. One of my favorite tropes returns. Creepy music on a song with sexual tones. Fantastic.
Every time I close my eyes, I wake up feeling so horny.
Did he seriously just say that?
Wake up feeling so horny.
Oh, ain't that just the most romantic thing you've ever heard in your life? Seriously, nothing screams sensual romance like blunt, sleazy honesty. Ugh. Real talk though, this song is to me what Taste is to my buddy Mr. 96. A gross, creepy song that makes me want to file a restraining order against it. But at the very least though, that song was just bragging about getting girls, albeit in a disturbing way. This song, however, doesn't just get it wrong in 2 areas, but 3. I'd call that impressive, if not for ew. The lyrics are sleazy, the music is creepy, and the singers try to give the song the same tone as your average Boyz II Men song, but can't even come close to matching it. And as somebody who likes very few songs by that group, that's not a good thing. The average Boyz II Men song, at least from what I've heard so far, borders between boring and decent. And if you can't hit that bar, you're doing a pretty shit job. And that's the most I can stomach. Moving on. Number 3! So, one of the biggest challenges as a music critic, whether you're talking about a song you really love or really hate, is when you encounter the songs that you don't have many words for because they are just that good or that bad. This past year, Nice to Meet You by Niall Horan was one such beloved song. It's just so fun and full of life that it was hard to add pretty much anything to it. However, I've never encountered a song that I hated and couldn't find the words to describe. And I don't mean that like in the case of Without Me by Halsey, because when I did find words I wanted to say about it, it turned into one of my longest segments ever. No. In this instance, I have next to nothing to say about this song. It's just that bad.
Don't want no short dick man. Don't want no short dick man.
Do I really have to go into this? I mean, y'all have ears. You hear that shitty beat, you hear that condescending attitude, you hear that childish form of rapping. It's like somebody tried to make a comedy version of Baby Got Back, only from a girl's perspective.
My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun.
Baby Got Back is fun, has funny moments, and Sir Mix-a-Lot is an entertaining and charismatic performer. And he manages to create this atmosphere of fun, all while talking about a preference when it comes to girls' butts. Go figure. This, on the other hand, is repetitive, annoying, and just insulting on all levels. Imagine if the girls at the start of Baby Got Back were stretched out into a 3 to 5 minute song, depending on which version of this you want to suffer through. The intention of this song was supposed to be a woman bashing men and treating them like objects, just as they were doing to women back then. But if the project is unlistenable, not even a woman like me is gonna get into it. Ugh. Number 2!
Where did you come from? Where did you go?
But hey, give Short Dick Man this. At least it actually came from a woman's perspective. Yeah, if you know this year-end, you knew the song was coming.
To really love a woman, to understand her.
Instantly uncomfortable right from the start, but hey, I was willing to give a maybe well-intentioned song a chance.
Hear every thought, see every dream.
Look, I'm all for people understanding their partners. Geez, you're dating. I'd hope you know each other at least a little bit. But there's knowing them and then getting so far into their personal space that there's no such thing as privacy anymore. It's like that scene in Harvest Moon Animal Parade where the innkeeper is using the wizard's crystal ball to buy his wife gifts. Cute in theory, but she was plenty weirded out by it herself.
You gotta breathe her, really taste her, till you can feel her in your blood.
Again, I am all for couples getting to know each other, but this is one of the creepiest ways it can come out. The entire song doesn't come off well. Good intentions are fine and all, but this sounds more like Have You Ever Been Obsessed with a Woman? Which, again, is uncomfortable and creepy. And nowhere are those feelings more paramount than this part here.
When you can see you're
it here. If I'm comparing your song to one of the most infamously worst hit songs in Billboard history, and one of the worst songs ever to be made, period, there's not a lot I can add after that. But even with that comparison, it was still only number 2. It could be worse. Grab some earplugs, pups. Trust me. But while you're finding those, let's go through the other contenders for this list.
Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon?
For reference, I actually like Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas, but it is worth pointing out that Disney's been releasing lesser quality pop versions of their songs for a while now.
Whatever I said, whatever I didn't mean it.
The lyrics are eerily clingy. Everything else is fine.
Grab your dicks if you love hip-hop, bitches.
The horns in the background and that xylophone ruin what little enjoyment I can get from this beat. And where everyone is bringing their A game, I really hate Biggie's chorus here.
I live my life for you.
What's with all the rock ballads sucking this year, and why do I suddenly want to listen to Simple Plan?
Baby, tell me, does she love you like the way I love you?
I can't bring myself to hate this more than that Luna's song. That's what spared it from the list.
You're not alone. I am here.
The King of Pop, sounding like every other boring R&B singer this year. That's disappointing on so many levels. And that's all of them. Let's finish this, shall we?
I've been Cotton Eye Joe, I've been married.
Number 1.
Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
You know, it's one thing for a song to leave me speechless. It's another thing for a song to creep me out. It's one more thing for me to call its music complete dog shit. But when a song is so bad that not only am I unable to finish it, but I refuse to call it a piece of music, well, that's a first for me.
Mr. Bombastic. She call me Mr. Bombastic, tell me fantastic. Touch me on me back, she says I'm
Not for lack of trying. I can't even get to the halfway point most times without tearing my earphones off. My dad has a severe dislike for anything related to rap or hip-hop, and I can only imagine that this is what he hears when one of those songs comes on. Because this topped my list purely for how it sounds.
oh my, well, can't you tell? I'm just like a turtle crawling out of my shell.
That stiff drum machine, the mechanical horn, or whatever it is in the background, and Shaggy on top of it, all just grind at my gears. I like It Wasn't Me as much as the next pup, but that song worked because it was goofy, fun, and wasn't really made to be taken seriously. Which is in stark contrast to Boombastic, a clusterfuck of noise where Shaggy is trying to be a smooth talker.
Mr. Lover.
What?
Mr. Lover.
Huh?
Mr. Lover.
Okay, note to self, keep this in mind the next time you talk about Sean Paul.
Smooth, just like a silk.
I know that's not the line, but I can't act like mishearing the lyrics doesn't irritate me. Shaggy is a silly performer, as anyone who likes the song knows. But the lack of awareness on how abrasive this piece of media is makes Shaggy sound less silly and more, dare I say, terrifying.
Well, you are the bun and me are the cheese, and if me are the rice, then baby love you the peas.
Okay, if we're at the point of bad food metaphors, I'm gonna tap out. Nothing about this is listenable, nothing about this is redeemable, and it's because of that it is my pick for the worst hit song of 1995.
Touch me on the box, she says, Mr. Boom. Where you say, girl? Smooth.
And it's over. Thank God. And thank you all for bearing with me. I hope to see y'all again for the first part of the top 10 best hit songs of 1995. Yeah, the year was so good that I really can't fit it all into one video. Before we go, I just want to thank my pups on Patreon, as well as give a quick shout out to Louis Rivera and Matt Jenkins, and a very big thank you to Ryan Eister, Temple, and Theater Kid Maddie. Thank you, pups, so much for your support. I couldn't dedicate myself to this full time without you. If you would like to become a patron, feel free to drop a pledge. Just $1 per main series video allows you to join my Discord server. If you pledge $2, you'll be able to vote for songs for me to talk about in the next episode of the Pup Tunes. $5 gets your name in the end credits, and $10 gets you a personal shout out from yours truly. Also, one final thing for those who missed it, but Top 20 Ranked is coming back. I'm going to be ranking, the first week of October, actually. It was supposed to be the week of the 25th, but, Drake album bomb. Yeah, not doing it. Can't wait to see the difference between mine and Sean's scores, but until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope y'all have a howling good time.
I never said that this would be easy.